pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez?
Jamie, could you do me a favor?
Present.
Move maybe a couple seats back so we can keep 6-foot distances while we got the area.
Councilman Marca, absent. Councilman Lord, absent. Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
Supervisor Hay.
Here. Okay, notation of exits in the front and the rear and electronic vibrate. Any electronic device, please put it on vibrate. We have the COVID policy in effect. Try to stay 6 feet away. Keep your mask. When you're sitting, we'd like you to keep your mask on. We've taken ours off so you can hear us speak into the mic. When you get up to the mic, if you want to take it off to speak, that's allowable as well. Okay. We have, I didn't open the meeting yet? Okay, motion to open the meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a fairly good agenda tonight. We have 4 public hearings and a full schedule of the regular meeting. Okay, first one is the Route 6 Western Corridor, the rezoning. I make a motion to open the public hearing and waive the reading of the notice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone here tonight to speak to the public hearing notice for the proposed rezoning of Route 6? And what that is basically the Route 6 corridor will say from Putnam County Savings Bank all the way to the Carmel line, pretty much, is going to be rezoned for commercial and residential use. And it's pretty much that now, and this just solidifies it and it makes it the establishment of it. Now, is there anyone to speak to that? Okay, I'm going to make a recommendation. We close the public hearing and keep a public comment open in writing for 10 days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Second one is the noise code. Now this one we've received quite a bit of notice on, mail on. So I'm going to tell you tonight, we will have the public hearing, and we're going to leave it open, and it will be continued again on January 20th, because the next one will be after a holiday, so January 20th. But so we'll discuss it tonight, and it'll be continued until the 20th. Yes.
The letter to me.
Yeah, but I'm not done
You haven't opened the public hearing yet.
yet. Huh?
You haven't opened the public hearing yet.
I'm just explaining what
Okay.
I'm doing. Okay. Okay. So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing and waive the reading of the notice.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, that's us. So, is there anyone in the audience here this evening that is here to speak to the noise code? If you do, come up to the mic, state your name. We have something to be read in the record, and like I said, we will have this continued.
So my name is Bailey Santucci.
You can take your mask off if it's easier for you and us to hear you, maybe.
I just have some questions regarding the code and what you're looking to change. I'd like to know when this was put into place, the motion to change the code in which it reads.
When did it take place?
Yeah, when was it first initiated?
Probably 3 months ago. It's gone through the planning process. We'll find out exactly, but probably about 3 months
I believe it
ago.
was in the summertime, Tony.
Summer?
It was in the summertime when it was first initiated.
Okay. What's the violation for the offense if one deems something be unreasonably noise prohibited?
You could be fined. I think there's a
I can't, on the paperwork, I don't see anything, so that's why I'm asking. I didn't see anything for violations.
Okay, so any question you have tonight, if we don't have the answer, our person who was supposed to be here from AKRF heard one of her family members came down with COVID and she could not attend.
So we'll have it for the next meeting?
Yeah, but put your comments out tonight.
Okay.
And we'll make sure that those are answered at the next meeting, because your questions are going to be asked by someone else as well.
Right. So what provoked the change? Like how many, in the past 3 years, we'll say, how many violations have been issued for noise complaints in the town of Southeast?
We've received quite a few noise complaints, not as much for here, mostly loud music being played, and various things like that we've probably had.
Lawn mowers, people,
Yeah,
like the
blowing
landscaping companies
leaves,
starting earlier.
hours.
And how many violations have actually been issued?
Well, but it's tough to write a violation after the fact. I mean, we get a complaint, we don't have the best of enforcement on the weekends, because, you know, we don't work on the weekends, so if
Right.
someone has their radio blasting during the week, or on the weekend, we hear about it the next day,
Okay,
we can only ask them and go out and possibly check it,
okay.
or be ready the next time, because there's one person in particular that seems to do it like every week, every other week, so we line someone up to go out there and take a reading, and we've gone out there and taken a reading, and it didn't come up. But again, when you turn your radio on, I don't have the same volume every time I turn my radio on.
Right.
So if I have today and it bothers the neighbor, next time I turn it on, it may not be the same volume.
Right.
So unless you're right there at that time, it's tough to do noise.
So by changing the town code, what efficiency do you think you'll have with handing out violations in regards to it, if there's not somebody on patrol 24/7 in regards to noise complaints?
Well, I think what they've done in reading through that, which I have some comments as well, I mean, they've got it down to a T. They have the the different decibel levels, et cetera. So it's a little more enforceable and more detailed in how to have it work.
Okay, so the town owns a noise decimal reader?
We do, and if we have to buy a piece of equipment to match whatever this code is, we will be buying it, and we have to train the personnel to use it.
So do you know what year the decimal reader was purchased from the town of Southeast?
Oh, probably in the last year and change possibly.
Okay. And now, since you just said that there's not somebody working 24/7 handing out violations, you know, if you're not there to see it and witness it, how do you propose a violation is going to be handed out if a town personnel is not present 24/7 to witness the violation?
Then it's a problem.
Individuals can make complaints.
So if an individual is making complaint on a daily basis in regards to, let's say, a turkey gobbling,
Okay.
does that warrant a violation?
Depends if the turkey's loud.
A normal turkey that inhabits Brewster. We have
Well-
wild turkeys, we have domesticated turkeys that live on farms and properties.
Well, I would say if it goes on every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we could go out there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if it's continuous, we could line up the enforcement person, and we're going to be putting on someone January 1st to go out at nights, like for parking on the sides of the road and whatever. But they can be called and go out. We will have someone on board come January 1st.
So just to clarify, we're saying that a turkey is potentially in violation of...
I'm not saying that, I don't know that.
Okay.
Until you get a decibel reading of it and someone hears it.
And from my understanding on this, we're not changing the decimal reading level. It's just making some revisions to the code in which the plainly audible, unreasonable noise, for example, but the actual reading levels are not changing from the current town noise ordinance code.
That I can't speak to at the next meeting, we'll have
I
someone.
think
speak
there
to
is
that.
some technical amendments based upon the way sound is measured. This is my understanding of it, but again, Ashley, our planner, is the person more knowledgeable about this particular.
Okay,
amendment.
so can the town give me their definition of frequency? Is it hourly, daily, weekly, monthly?
What was the word? The
Frequency. Frequency of the noise.
Let's see. I don't see the word frequency of noise.
Page 6.
Noise disturbance, any sound, outdoor.
In your plainly audible, unreasonable noise prohibited, the definition down below, it lists different things that can be
What
permitted
page-
for a violation.
Do you have the actual code there?
It's page 6,
Okay.
E,
So that Page 6 what?
E,
E,
and it's number 2, the frequency of the noise.
okay, and what's your question?
What's the definition of frequency for the
Okay.
town? Is it hourly, daily, weekly, monthly?
Well, the noise could actually only be once, and if a person complains, then we'll have to be on the lookout for what it is, as far as frequency. Might be once a year, might be every day.
But we'll take, it's certainly something worth discussing with the people that have been involved in drafting this. So why don't we put that as a
Yes.
question from Ms. Santucci, and,
So periodically is the same, your response would be the same for the definition of periodically?
Say it again?
Your response for the definition of periodically would be the same, that it could happen once every blue moon, and because someone made a noise complaint about it, it's potentially a violation?
We will ask the people who have written this for that. Now, have your questions you're asking this evening, do you have them written down? If not, we've got them on tape when you're saying it.
Yeah, you have it on tape now, I don't have it written
You
down.
don't have it down. Okay, so we'll go back and send these questions out and get answers to them. And
Okay.
again, there'll be, when you come in the next time, which will be the 20th,
20th of January, yep.
we will have those answers, and if you have more, you can ask them at that time. It's
Okay.
unfortunate the person just told us, actually, I think it was even early this morning, she could not make it this evening.
Okay, because I'm just, wondering what the sudden interest in changing the noise ordinance is.
Oh, it's been out there for a long time. This is not, from anything happening in the past week, month, it's been happening over probably several years.
and if you look at the historic record of that particular code section, there have been a number of amendments to it over the years.
Over the years, yes, which I'm sure, I'm just, the wording of the plainly audible and unreasonable noise, but then saying frequency and periodically, especially when you have a neighbor that complains about a turkey in which, for example,
I'm not
we're
even sure
legally.
that the noise a turkey makes would be the kind of thing that would be determinable by this. I mean, it's like a barking dog.
Right.
If you have a habitual barking dog, you're gonna be cited for it. I don't really know much about turkeys, to be honest with you, but if you would, the genesis of these amendments was really not related to turkeys or animals at all. It
Or
was-
machinery, if you have an open permit and you're running a machine and your neighbor's
Well, yeah, if you have
offended by
a
the sound of the
If
machine.
you have a machine that's run at times that you're not supposed to be running that machine, then yeah.
Right, well, if you're within your time frame that you're allowed to use it, and you have an open permit, but you're building a stone wall, and you're running a machine for 5 days a week, building said stone wall between the hours in which you're allowed to use it, does that become unreasonable noise in which a neighbor can then make a complaint because it's bothering their...
It could be if it reaches those decibel levels, which a person could go out there and measure.
So to my understanding, it's not necessarily the decimals, but it's also the definition of the unreasonable noise is which any sound by its duration, intensity, or the hour of the day or night inappropriately interferes with the quiet environment or response of nearby properties and the responsible exceptions of privacy inhabitants of such properties. So my understanding of that is that if somebody's building a stone wall and running a machine and it's just offending me and I don't want to hear it, I can then make a complaint about it, regardless of whether or not it meets the decibels.
People make complaints about many things you would not imagine. Now, something
Oh,
that
I
goes
know.
on here, and we've tried to take it in hand, we have 2 dumpsters in the back.
Mm-hmm.
We have a garbage pickup law that says you're not supposed to pick up before 7 a.m. on any particular day, okay? The garbage man who was coming here was picking up at 3:30 in the morning. We received a complaint from the people in these condominiums. With that, we acted upon it.
Right.
Actually, I happened to be here one morning and almost jumped out of my chair. I get here early some days, and I heard it, and I said, holy cow, now I knew what they were talking about. So it doesn't have to be a turkey gobbling. It could be the banging of garbage cans. And these dumpsters, when they come here to do the drop-off for the clothing, I'm sitting in my office right there, and you can just hear, when they push that up, it makes a real loud sound. It's metal to metal, and it's loud. And if that happens on a Saturday or Sunday, it could be disturbing. Again, can you reach it with decibel level? No, but it shouldn't be done, and you have to find ways to tone it down if it's possible.
Okay, because I'm sure you know.
Well, nothing's going to be perfect, whatever we do. I mean, we're trying it. We get again.
I'm basically saying, I have a turkey that's been living on my parents' property at Shady Lane, and we all know that the Skolaskis can't stand the turkey.
Try not to mention people's names. There's no need. Your
Okay.
neighbor.
The neighbors can't stand the turkey and have, over the last 5 years, or since 2018, the most recent FOIL of 2,000+ pages is complaints from the neighbor complaining about our farm animals. And now it just is interesting that he complains so much and that this has become a town issue to change the town ordinance
Now,
with such vague wording.
I can tell you right now
that
that
was
has
not
nothing
the
to do with
genesis
it.
of this.
Can you assure me
Zero.
of
I
that?
can assure
Oh,
you
yes.
of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then
trust
my
me.
turkey should be totally fine based on this?
Not necessarily.
So if he gobbles one day and Mr. Skolasky complains about it,
Ma'am,
then?
would you please try not to be personal with anyone's name? There's no
Okay.
need for that. You
Okay.
can say your
So
name.
the neighbor has a problem with it because he gobbles one day and that's a violation? But again, I don't understand what the violations are, so that's
Well-
why. Do we have an idea of that? Do we know what the
You may
violations
very
are?
well, what the fines would be?
What the fines would be, or, yeah,
There's usually, in each code section, there's usually a reference to penalties. And if there's not one in there, there will be one in that section.
do you have anything otherwise up there that says anything about a penalty?
I don't
No.
even have the whole code with me, to be honest with you, but.
I have everything. I don't see, I don't know if they've announced what the fines would be. I have never seen that yet. But I,
Generally, when you have any kind of ordinance or any kind of code provision, if you look at through our town code, each section, zoning, subdivision, if you violate the provisions of that, there's a schedule of fines.
Right,
that
there's
if
more
you
like
were-
notices and then you get fined.
If you wouldn't get fined with that, you would get sent a summons,
Right,
and the matter would be adjudicated in local court. And if you were found guilty, a fine would be imposed.
If I may, under the current town code, section 96-10, penalties for offenses, any person who shall violate any provision of this chapter shall be guilty of an offense, and upon conviction thereof shall be subject to a fine of not more than $250 or by imprisonment not exceeding 15 days, or both such fine and imprisonment, which is standard for most code violations.
okay, so there's potential that I could go to prison for my turkey
It
gobbling.
wouldn't be prison, ma'am, it would be jail if the judge decided 15 days.
Okay, okay,
it's the rules apply to every resident in the town of Southeast.
okay. It's interesting. Thank you.
Okay?
Dennis Santucci, 5 Shady Lane. I just want to clarify, you're going to let us know on the 20th exactly who proposed the change in legislation? Because if it is a change in legislation, you have to have a proposal
The
before
proposal
this
is
board.
made by the town council.
Excuse me?
The proposal is made by the town council. It was
Is
moved-
that what the proposal was made by? Because I know in other times, proposals could have been made by the general public.
Well,
You can certainly put, if you want a change in our code, you can certainly write at any time to the town board and ask that a code provision be amended, and they will take it up. The process is that it goes through the planning board, we get a recommendation that comes to the town board, and then when it's put into a local law form, it would be offered by one of the members of the town council, seconded, and if they vote unanimously, it would pass and become it would become a part of our local code. That's
Okay.
the process.
Well, what I'm asking, if there was a recommendation by someone other than the town board, can it be disclosed on the 20th so all the public would know? And if it was exclusively by the town board, let us know that, please, if you don't mind.
well, I don't know if we receive complaints. These are living documents, okay? Town code, and when you go through at the end of each one, it will identify when the changes are made. I don't know if they exactly say why the changes were made. Someone must have said something. It's brought to the planning board, they review it, and if they think there's a need for a change, or if we think there's a need for a change, or if you think it's a need for a change, I don't know if there's an actual record of if we received a phone call or we get 10 phone calls. I mean, I'm telling you right now with noise, and it's mostly with loud music being played on the weekend, especially during the summertime, that people call about their neighbors. Many of them, not just 1, 2. We don't keep a track of, we may know by going through a record, seeing who may have called, but that's not why it was done. It was numerous ones. It doesn't get done by just one person.
Well, if there is a record of it, can you please disclose it on the 20th? At the next meeting. I mean, it should be general information. And
Well,
a lot
I'll
of-
tell you what, we'll ask the town planner who put this together and the planning board, ask them where it came from.
Very good. That's all I'm asking for.
I don't believe it came from our end as a town board, but I know with the noise, and during the summertime, especially with pools and outdoor music, last year we probably had 6 phone calls on a particular weekend from 6 different neighbors about someone with poolside activity. And it happened the year before. And that's when we went out, had to get a decibel reader, and then have them make sure someone was around maybe that Sunday. And of course, that one Sunday we had someone around, guess what? They didn't have to party. So you just don't know when things are gonna happen.
All right, and the only other thing is, there's a lot of wide open wording in here about some of it just too wide open. It doesn't explain how to law more. It
Okay.
explains, a
I think
person
what
could
we're
just,
saying, Mr. Santucci, it's vague, right? Is that what you're saying?
yes.
And that's a good point. And we're going to take that back to the drafter of this and say, we've got a concern by a number of people, and you're not the only one that has written in and said that it does appear vague.
Because as the board is aware or may not be aware, my neighbor's been complaining a lot. We were working on the machine, doing some excavation work that was permitted, and Mike Levine was out there with the decimal reader, and he found that there was no problem. There was actually, I think 2 or 3 inspectors that, have it in the foil. The foil that we recently got was 2,000 pages. The foil before that was over 5,000 pages. A little ridiculous for a private piece of property.
5,000 pages?
Yes, sir.
Of what?
Foil, about 5 Shady, 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, and 7 Shady Lane.
5,000 pages?
Over 5,000 pages. So it's a little bit ridiculous, Mr. Hay.
They send a-
Don't look
they send a-
surprised, because
they
you know
send a-
all about it.
You know, a
Hey,
large
Mr.
FOIL request,
Santucci,
Tony,
you
and that's
speak for
what-
yourself when you're standing there, please. Don't speak for Mr. Hay.
Excuse me,
5,000
the board-
pages, 5,000 pages to me seems like an awful lot of pages.
It
We
sure
have a
does.
person, we have a person who complains much more than that on another subject here in this town, and we've gotten 131 emails. And I'm telling you right now, that's not even close to 5,000 pages.
Okay, that's fine. It's all there. It doesn't help when the neighbors is encouraged by the town supervisor. It's in the foils also.
Hey,
Please read through it. Have a good day. Thank you, guys.
yeah, you too. Anyone else from the public at this point? Okay, town board?
Yeah, just for the record, and you know that I've conversed with you on a number of occasions of constituent complaints of construction activity in the area of Route 312 over a number of weekends, which resulted in quite a few noise complaints. So, it's not
And
just...
action was taken?
Yeah, action was taken, and it's not just one locality. I have a neighbor
No.
that's launching fireworks on various holidays near me that seems to do it consistently. So there's a lot of perceived noise issues of varying types throughout the town right now.
That's right.
So,
And in that particular case, I think it happened on a Sunday. Either you got the call, or I got the call. Not necessarily on Sunday, but maybe on a Monday. We heard it the following week. We lined someone up to be on the ready, sent the person out, and that person was given, whether it violated?
no notice of violations for failure to
Yep. So,
have permits for things, et cetera. So.
not that you win some and lose some, but sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not. I have some questions I'll put in there on the record as well. And I'll read, Mr. Ligori, a local attorney, has made comment as well. So on page 1, one of my concerns in reading this, it says, in A, certain words used in this chapter are defined and explained in definitions which follow, and the other words in this chapter shall have the meanings commonly attributed to them. Doubts as to the precise meaning of words in this chapter shall be determined by the code enforcement officer in written letter, given due consideration to the express intent and purpose of this chapter. I personally have a problem with a code enforcement officer who has to interpret it, I always thought that the ZBA was the one in the town that would make interpretations of our code. Should that be changed, or should it be the
It's a
zoning?
question that could be asked of Ashley. I think that is standard language in a lot of different codes that allow for a code enforcement officer to use a level of discretion, if you will, when they're presented with a specific fact pattern. And certainly their discretion is not without boundaries, and their discretion and their interpretation could be rejected by a court. So it's, but that's the reason for that, and it provides for an ability to go out and enforce things and maybe make a decision, on the street, if you will, that I don't think that this is violative of that particular provision because it's vague.
And then if the code enforcement officer was to make a determination about the vagueness or whatever, I just don't know who could review that determination.
That would be reviewed by the ZBA.
Okay. So
And
if
it does require them to make that interpretation in writing. So it's not like, okay, I'm gonna make this interpretation on an ad hoc basis. They have to do it in writing. Isn't that what it says?
yes.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if that should be done. We'll ask Ashley, this will be on record like the other questions asked previously. And I'm just concerned that it's the code enforcement officer as opposed to someone that's not directly involved with the situation, which the ZBA would be. But we might go in front of the ZBA every 5 minutes with stuff sometimes.
Well, yeah, the other side of the coin is that the building inspector is empowered to interpret provisions of the building code, subject to an appeal, if necessary, to the zoning board of appeals. I think this is similar in that sense, but we'll let Ashley answer that.
Okay. Now, another thing in here, there's a word exemption. And I looked up in the code and I tried to look up the word, I know what exemption means, but what does it mean? I mean, I think they should identify what I know what an exemption is, but define it as I'm thinking as it is, or is it something different?
Well, I think there's a section in there about exemptions, isn't there?
It's exceptions, 96.6.
EX?
So it might have been a misspelling.
Wait, EX?
Yeah, if you go to page 7, the
Oh,
top
wow.
section,
Wait.
96-6,
Page
is
7?
exceptions. But I don't know if, was the section that you had seen exemptions from?
I know, but the bottom line is it's not identified in the, what do we call that? Page 1, page 2? It's not defined. I'm just looking for the definition of it. So it should be in, I think it
So
should be.
the exceptions,
Yeah.
is that what you're saying? So the
I-
exceptions are
some-
outlined A through H.
It might, I can't even remember. It says define exceptions, possibly. To me, it looks like exemption, but let's say it's exemptions. What page you on?
Exceptions are on page 7.
Page
At the
7.
top, it says, section 96-6, exceptions. The following activity shall be exempt from the provisions of this code.
If
Lawnmowers.
it's exempt, then it's an exemption.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me work on that one. Now, they have construction activity and construction work. And I think somehow they should be combined to be like one word and not to have two different words. They have a definition of construction activity and construction work. Now, I'm only a layman, but to me, that sounds like the same thing. You're either working, which is an activity, I just think, and then they have the word construction. I know construction is a word, but construction activity and construction work, I'm just seeing if we can combine them into one word somehow. Call it one or the other, not have
Actually, you
two.
have 3. You have construction.
Yeah.
Then construction activity, then construction
Yeah.
work.
So I think
So
that should be.
It sounds a little, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that to me would be very misleading. Now, another thing, we go down below, they have daytime, and that says from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Now, I wrote down daytime, I think on Monday through Friday should be a time, and on Saturday and Sunday, it should be another time. So I would say there'd be a weekday daytime, hate to say it, and a nighttime week time. I think we should look into that.
So under the exemptions section, it outlines the type of exemptions by the times.
Okay, but you're on page
So
7 now
going to
again?
page 7, so landscaping operations are 8 to 9 p.m., but snow blowers, as an example, is 24 hours because the snow comes whenever. Operation of agricultural equipment is 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Construction activity Monday through Friday is 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday 9 to 5.
Yes, and again, with operation of lawnmowers, leaf blowers, power washers, which is number A, again, I believe we should write in something there for Monday through Friday and for Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, you know, Monday through Friday, people up going to work, on Saturday and Sunday relaxing, and I don't know if we want to hear, you know, I don't want, look, I have to mow my lawn on a Sunday, okay? But 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, I think is a bit too early.
Well, H has an individual may perform construction activities himself, not under a contractor, but themselves.
Himself.
Okay, on Sunday from
That-
9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
That's construction. I'm going to put a roof on my house. I'm allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm going to recommend that,
So if we're allowing construction activities from 9 to 5, then the landscaping activities should be similarly
Similar.
restricted 9 to 5?
yeah. And again, it's only a suggestion. And then I'm also recommending it from D, construction activity work Monday through Friday. And then I think H should be moved up to be under E, because as you just read, an individual may perform construction activity, him or herself, between 9 and 5. So I just recommend we move that up. It's semantics in a sense, but you might as well put them right under one another. And then I have a concern maybe about daylight saving time and non-daylight saving time. I mean, allow something to go on and take place in the summertime to 9 o'clock at night might be good, but at this point in time, it's, you know, not the best. So, you know, to look into the possibility of daylight saving time with that as well. And what else? Now, on page 6, they identify special license. And I'm asking, that's issued, I think, by the building inspector. Yes, it's F1. Unless expressly granted authority to do so by special license issued by the code enforcement officer. What is a special license? I don't see a definition of what a special license is and for.
So I don't think we have any licenses other than dog licenses.
Yeah, but that's, but this is
So it's
in,
probably a permit, some sort of,
well, it does, then it
it
should say.
says license, but should say permit.
Okay, well, I want, if it is, at least define what is a special license. So that's a question, just define what it may be.
Well, I think that's similar, just so you understand, I think that's been in that code for a while.
A special license?
Yeah,
Yeah, let me take a
and
look.
the way it was interpreted was that it meant a permit, because as you recall, Tilly Foster Farm has requested special licenses for all these concerts over the years,
Mhm.
meaning that they would be exempt from any noise violations. And the town has not issued those permits that they've requested.
Have we ever issued one?
Have we ever?
Not to
issued-
them, but to
not
anybody.
I don't know the answer to that question.
So-
But you'd have to ask, I think, you know, to tell you the truth, I think we have, because there was somebody that came in for a permit
For
to
a
allow
party.
for fireworks,
Yes.
and I think that would have fallen under that category.
But again, this is the new code replacing what was ever there, so if it was in the old one, I don't see it here other than the way the word's mentioned. I just think there should be a further clarification so there's no arbitrary noise, whatever. Okay, now, on this same page, on page 6E, plainly audible unreasonable noise prohibited. Number 2, frequency of the noise. Well, it may have been asked earlier, but what do they mean by frequency of noise? I mean, is it every minute, every hour, once a week? So,
You know, Tony, I think that it may have been more valuable to have set this down for a work session before having it put the public hearing?
Well-
Because it seems like you've got a lot of questions, and obviously the public have a lot of questions, but you could have, we
Well-
maybe could have answered a lot of our own questions in a work session and put up a draft that was cleaner.
Well,
That's
This-
the process, and I don't think we've had a work session on this.
we did not, but they requested this public hearing and then get the public input. I mean, you know, whatever. It's coming back again no matter what.
Well,
I just
what
want to
I'm
bring
saying,
out,
my next statement is going to be, this should probably be put down for a work session before.
next public hearing. Well, we're going to be
Oh.
continue the public hearing, so it'll be,
We're most likely gonna have to, ultimately, notice a new public hearing,
So
because there'll be significant changes to what is
Okay.
currently before us.
but public participation in work sessions is not, their public participation takes place at a public hearing.
I understand that, but what I'm saying right now is you're asking a lot of questions as a town board member. This is your legislation, and. it
Well,
would-
it's now we're making our input as well as the public.
Okay, Tony, I'm trying to tell you what I think, in my opinion.
So what do you
the
want
way
me to do with the next one? You want,
The way you draft legislation is not to, throw something out and have a public hearing on it. Is, if you have questions about it, you should have a work session.
So I enter a motion then to move this to work session, table it and move it to work session. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Once the table, Mr. LaGoria had something to read into the
Yeah, you
record.
can
You
read-
want me
yeah.
to put that in at least at the
Yep,
moment
you
and
can
then
read that.
move on to the next one?
Seeing how it is.
Okay, so the work session on this will be on the 20th. Because we
Yeah, so
got
then we have to
we have a
move the
big,
public
Right.
hearing back.
no, there'll be no,
Unless-
no.
No, we're gonna have to notice
We have
another
to-
public.
I was gonna
By
say, should we
new
just
public.
close this public hearing then
Yeah.
and just,
It's
once
gonna
we
have
do
to-
the work session, renotice it and
Yeah, we'll do a work session, but we'll have
this
to let the
this way,
public.
if we don't finish the work session, we're not worried about, a public hearing then the following meeting.
No, we notice a new public hearing.
Right, whenever we know we're ready.
So in our work session, is the public going to be allowed to make their input at that point in time to the town board? Usually that comes in a public hearing, so,
Correct. Or if you're having a work session and you wanna allow public comment, that's your prerogative.
okay, that's what we'll do. Okay. So we'll change it. Because there are more things that have to be addressed. But again, you can get as precise as you want, but there's always going to be a question about something.
Absolutely.
And it's, I mean, there's a lot of things in here that are going to be questionable. Okay, we got enough on the record with that there. I'll read into the record from Mr. Michael Lagori. Hi, Michelle. I am writing the board regarding the noise ordinance public hearing set for Thursday evening, December 23rd, 2021. I've had a few clients reach out to me with comments, concerns about the ordinance, but more so with the concern that they may not be heard due to the fact that the date is so close to the holiday that they are either not available, have not had adequate time to study the document, or have concerns about potential increased exposure to COVID. Based on that, we are asking if the board would consider opening the hearing on Thursday and then leaving it open until the second meeting of the board in January, when they could then be heard either in person or by Zoom or otherwise. Essentially, we don't want it closed on Thursday with 10-day written comment period because that still doesn't give adequate time to review and comment. Substantively, I ask that you read my email into the record. We have concerns about the legality of the ordinance as a whole, given that special licenses 96.8 are issued at the sole discretion of the building inspector without any criteria for the building inspector to use to determining when a license should or should not be issued. The ordinance requires to be provided 96.8, but no instructions on how to evaluate it. Our concern is that it is ripe for claims in due process and equal protection violations, essentially, people claiming that they are being treated differently, unless you put some standard of special issuance. I cannot be at the meeting on Thursday, but if you know in advance if the intention is not to close the hearing, would you kindly let me know? I'd be greatly appreciated. Okay? Okay.
Unless Willis disagrees, then I make a motion, we close it, leave it open for a 10-day comment period so that people can respond back and we have that information for the work session. And then whenever it's ready for prime time, we'll just do another public hearing.
Notice another public hearing.
Okay. But we will schedule we'll schedule the regular work session for the 20th. Because the
Correct.
first, we've already got booked and it's organizational and
Right,
everything.
so I second Councilman Alvarez's motion.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Just ask for clarification, on the 20th, it's a work session with public comment?
No, it'd be a work session, and then a meeting to be scheduled subsequent to that would be the public comment.
Attend the 20th meeting?
They can always attend, whether we have the public comment is questionable.
Okay.
But the 20, when it's rebooked for a public hearing, that comment's allowable.
But Ms. Santucci, it would be helpful to the board if you have specific comments like you've addressed this evening, and maybe more, put them in writing and send them in, and they'll consider them at the work session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, next item is the public hearing for State Line Subaru Large Retail. I waive the reading of the public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Jamie, when you're speaking, you can take your mask off.
Thank you, because no one can ever hear me anyway. Okay. I'm gonna try and be brief from that.
Now, this one's for the large retail.
So,
And for those in the public, State Line
got
Subaru
it?
Large Retail, that is out on Route 6, heading toward
You
Connecticut.
could leave it this way. Oh, Paul, you can see it? Well, I think the way you had it was probably better for Paul.
thanks.
And then he can zoom in on it.
Right now, there's a large concrete building being built out there. The road has been widened. That's going to be Restaurant Depot. And to the left of that, as you're heading toward Connecticut, is where this is proposed for, right? To the left of, heading toward Connecticut. You got,
yes. Yes, heading toward Connecticut, yes. So where the Restaurant Depot is part of the large retail establishment.
yeah, that's the first building. This would be the second building to the left of it.
So actually, they'll be to the left and the right of Restaurant Depot.
Really?
Yes. So as part of this application, Jamie LaJudas from Inside Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture. Also present is Mr. Paul Camarda, the property owner. This is for State Line Subaru, but also we're here for the amendment of the large retail establishment special permit. The amendment comes with the adjustment to the subdivision that we're doing as part of this Subaru project. The amendment comes with adjusting the property lines to allow for Subaru to have 21 acres on the eastern side of the State Line property, which is this section.
Can you show Restaurant Depot on there?
Yes.
Okay, so I said it was that side.
So it is on the western side.
Okay, no, but when I said it was Restaurant Depot and then Subaru and the large retail.
Hey Jamie, take the hand mic on the podium, please.
Anyway, okay,
It's on? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
thanks.
okay, so there it is.
So this
and
is
to-
Restaurant Depot.
As you go to the right, in other words, you're heading toward Connecticut.
Toward
the balance of
Connecticut.
it.
So this lot 1 was not previously part of the large retail establishment. It is now included. So
Is
the
that
lot,
gonna be part of Subaru?
no,
Oh, that's the large retail,
correct.
okay.
This,
Okay.
so just to clarify, this public hearing is for the large retail
Large retail,
establishment.
okay.
Okay.
Just,
It's a
so
little
is it,
confusing because they're both linked, and I just want to make sure that we're all clear on what's going on. So the large retail establishment deals with Lot 1, which is a general business use, Lot 2, which is Restaurant Depot, Lot 3, which is a future large retail establishment, and Lot 4, which is also a future retail establishment. 1, 3, and 4 are currently vacant, are going to remain vacant until a tenant comes in. 2 is Restaurant Depot, that's currently being constructed. Lot 5 is the Subaru portion.
okay.
So the amendment, as we're doing the Subaru project, we are adjusting the existing 3 lots of State Line into 5 lots. And that's where the amendment is being requested.
Okay.
That's kind of the gist of it. I mean, I can get into a little further details on it. short of, we do require a variance for the large retail establishment because there are 35 acres minimum required, where now we are requesting 21, I believe. So we do have a deficiency in that. So we are requesting a variance for that requirement, for that special permit.
Okay.
Is that for the Subaru lot?
Yeah.
The 21
No.
acre?
21 acres is for the Subaru lot. I apologize, that was not the right number.
I'm confused.
But the.
This is why I wanted to do this all in one public hearing.
Sorry, in essence, what they're doing is re-subdividing
All right, I
Yes.
get
a
that.
large retail property that has been previously permitted, and just
Yes.
changing the configuration
Correct.
of that large retail property.
Correct. So the minimum lot area that we are proposing for the large retail establishment is 22.9 acres, which consists of lot 1, 2, 3, and 4. Lot 5 is not part of the large retail establishment anymore. That is 21 acres.
So that would be standing alone?
That
and
is standing
therefore
alone.
would need a variance.
That is standing alone as its own special permit. That's the next public hearing.
Right, okay.
So
I
not
know
the,
I know there's two public hearings, and I'm just trying to help the town board understand exactly why.
Yes.
I-
Because we're just subdividing Subaru out of the state line subdivision, now we have 5 lots instead of 3.
okay.
That has reduced the size of the large retail establishment that was previously approved. And that's where
I do get that.
Why we're here.
So, Subaru is going to represent lot number 1,
5,
just 5 only.
just 5 only.
And what's number 1?
Number 1 is
It
a
just-
general business.
Said nothing to do with Subaru,
Correct.
okay?
This-
And
this
then you
is-
have,
Subaru is at the east end here. The main entrance is right here, and Restaurant Depot is here. Lot 1 was lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and Subaru is lot 5 only?
Lot 5 only.
Okay,
Lot 5 only.
better, okay, I get it now.
Okay. Okay.
Good.
Okay,
So, I mean, that's the gist, is that we're just amending the original large retail establishment, making it 4 lots that are a little bit smaller than the original 2 that it was composed of.
okay.
We're dealing with the same property. We have different ownership. It's not one retail center.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. We have different components. People who are coming here are gonna wanna own their own property, so we no longer have one piece of property. So we're subdividing it, so Subaru has their own piece and Restaurant Depot.
Okay,
The bottom line is, it's the same property. It's less development than was previously approved.
right.
So it's basically the same plan, only we're subdividing it.
okay,
Thank you.
okay. Any questions of the town board at the moment?
Thank you for your presentation.
Anyone from the public
It is so
for
brief.
comment? Okay, I'll make a recommendation to close the public hearing on the large retail with a 10-day timeframe to submit written comments. So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the fourth one will be,
Now, we do have a request. Is that the variance able to be referred to the zoning board?
did we do that?
You guys have to do that because it's a special permit
Okay.
condition.
So is that on this one we just passed? This
Correct.
now has to be referred to the ZBA for the variance?
Correct, for a couple, actually a couple of variances. It's the lot area that we were discussing, and then there's a conservation buffer on the front and side yard on lots 4 and 3 respectively.
Okay.
Make a
I will
motion to
move-
refer
I-
it.
Pardon?
Make a motion to refer it to the zoning
Yeah,
board?
I'll make that motion as stated. Second? by-
Second.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Now we move on to the next one?
You gotta sit down and get back up first.
Okay.
Hold on.
Can we open that one?
Yeah, you have to flip boards, yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, let me start this now. Next is a special permit for State Line Subaru for the motor vehicle dealership. I waive the reading of the public hearing
Second,
and
yeah.
look for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're on.
Hello, again, Jamie LoJudas from Inside Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture, also present Mr. Paul Camarda for the property. This is for a special permit for a motor vehicle dealership for the Subaru that is proposed on Lot 5 of the State Line Retail Establishment. Lot 5 is all the way on the east of the property, as we just discussed. As its own special permit use, it has its own separate requirements and bulk table requirements, et cetera, that we have to meet. The building, actually, let me pull this through here. This is the first time that you guys are seeing Subaru. We have a building dealership on the western side of Lot 5. There is parking in front and parking to the rear of the building itself. And then we do have a stream crossing to be able to get to an asphalt milling storage lot, which will hold their additional car storage. We are proposing landscaping throughout the property. I can go through the other plans if you so choose.
Now, can I ask a question on behalf of the public?
Sure.
Town of Southeast has currently a Subaru dealership down by the old Brady Standard and by 6 Sodom Road and everything meets together there. Is that the same dealership moving there? Are they gonna keep 2 locations? Can you?
You want to speak to that?
That is the same ownership. They'll be moving the Subaru dealership to the new facility because that facility no longer meets the requirements of a Subaru dealership. They need to be bigger now, they have to better service, bigger service, so they're required to go to a bigger facility.
Okay, so the current one that's on that corner now is gonna move to the new location?
Correct.
And will Subaru do anything there, like paint cars or?
I would think, but I don't want to speak for them. There are talks going on right now regarding that property,
Okay,
how it's going to be possibly used in the future.
okay.
Okay?
So we're not gonna have 2 Subaru dealerships,
No, you
there'll be
will not.
one? Okay,
No.
good
It's
enough.
not gonna be a separate operation, like say, that'll be sales and service will remain?
This will be the complete
Soup to nuts.
service, sales, everything will happen here, and that other dealership will be repurposed in some form.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie, maybe you want to show the board the renderings and give them
Sure.
an idea of what we're looking at.
So we've provided several illustrations of the building itself rendered. This is the front facade of the Brewster Subaru. And you will see from the road. We have a back view that you'd be able to see from 84.
Wait. Okay. Can they really get cars now?
I'm sorry?
Can they really get cars? I hear there's a real
I think
problem with cars.
there's a lot of cars everywhere, it's just a matter of finding chips. But that's not my specialty, so I can't speak to Subaru on that one. We have a western elevation here where you'll be able to come into the building with several of their service entrances. And then their eastern elevation where they come out of certain entrances for their service. Something to point out too, they do have a covered area in the front where you would pick up, new cars, so they're out of the rain, out of the weather, and everything is right up front and easily accessible.
Are you gonna need any variances for these? Yes.
Just for you know, that the dealership is about 40,000 square feet. There's about 28 service bays, so they'll be able to service cars with less waiting, less periods of time to schedule. And Jamie did point out, in front of the building, there'll be a covered area, so when you go pick up your car, it doesn't have 6 inches of snow on it. It takes away from the whole experience of the new car showing up at a the car is covered in snow. As you can see, they've gone to great lengths on the detail, the architecture. They've done a great job, I think. I'll speak for them. I think they've done a real nice job working within the boundaries of Subaru. Because when you deal with these brands, you are confined a bit, but there's a nice use of stone, clapboard. We've screened all the air conditioners up on the roof, so you're not gonna see air conditioners from 84. There's a tremendous amount of landscaping. The bulk of the cars, I'm gonna quote a number, 75% of the cars will not be seen from Route 6. They'll either be behind the building or in the adjacent lot where all the trees will stay around them, set back a couple 100 feet from Route 6. Here is 6 here, and most of the cars will be way back here. So when you pass by the dealership, you'll see some display cars, some of your customer parking here, some cars in front, but most of it will be here and in the lot. So you're not gonna see a sea of cars. And I have to tell you, it's well landscaped. Everything is well landscaped. I think the town, when it's done, I think the town will like it.
Do you happen to know, so the current dealership they have, you said this is gonna have 28 service bays. How many does the current one, do you know off the top of your
I
head?
don't know. But it's a
I've been
bunch.
through it, it's not many.
2, maybe.
Probably less than half that number.
Yeah, I'd say even less than that. It's probably like more like a quarter or a third. Well, that's good, and the showroom, I guess, is gonna be much larger than what they have right now, so,
Much larger. It's a
Open.
better facility.
yeah, clearly, so.
And we're putting in charging stations.
I was gonna ask about that too.
quick charging stations here with the extensions for future power, so that.
How many charging stations?
Right now, we're putting in 3 stations. The theory is that in a couple of years, the technology will be that much more advanced. You want the most up-to-date technology as you're putting in
Believe it or
stations.
not, there's, in Putnam County, there's 6 charging stations, okay? And 4 of them are in this town.
Fair enough.
So, you know.
You're about to have a little more.
Maybe have a few more. Good to see.
Maybe they'll even fix the grid.
Well, have to talk to NICEAG about that. So,
You count the ones at the train station as well?
counting the ones at the train
We
station.
got 4 up there.
Oh, then we have 5 then. Yeah, so.
So,
Alrighty.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
So as part of this application and a part of the special permit conditions for the motor vehicle dealership, we are requesting some area variances for the landscape buffer for the side and the rear yard. We are providing 17 feet. Thank you. We are providing 17 feet along the property line on the side, and then 17 feet at its smallest portion into the rear. 50 feet is required. However, we are proposing extensive plantings throughout that area. With the large retail establishment to the west of this, we feel that the side yard, it doesn't make sense to screen from the large retail establishment. In our perspective, they're similar uses, even though they're different special permits. And then to the rear, there's extensive distance between the property lines and Interstate 84. Not all pristine. The existing vegetation is more scrubby and you can see into the property, but where we are proposing more landscaping to help screen some of the views. So there are 2 variances we're asking for.
Anyone else from the public with comment? Okay, what I'll do is I'll make a motion. We close the
It's
public
easier to see.
hearing, forward this to the ZBA for the appropriate variances, and allow 10 days for written comment to come into the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Well, thank you for
Merry
your time,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, thank you.
Okay,
I have one last request, if I could. Just want to bring it to the board's attention. It is hard to sometimes traverse this because you come into a planning board, a town board, a zoning board. Now, right now, we appreciate the referral, but the next time we can get to the zoning board is the end of February. And so we'll sit here for 2 months, where we would have been great if we could have moved it, but the way these schedules work, it's a long time. I think it's February 23rd. What is today? December 23rd? So,
Well, that's the zoning board schedule, right?
believe me.
I mean, we try to move things along probably sometimes too fast, especially I do that evidently. And, I mean, we feel your pain, but,
We're gonna request, we're gonna ask the zoning board if they would at least entertain us, even if they wouldn't take action, just to, in case they needed more time, maybe we can get on at the end of January, just to get the bugs out of it, so to speak, and then they could move on it at the end of February. Otherwise, if they need a second meeting,
Mr. Cromartie, you can, they do have work sessions that are scheduled from 7:30 to 8 o'clock on any given meeting night. So if you contact the ZBA and request to appear in work session, you may very well be able to hone down some of the concerns and hopefully get what you're seeking addressed in one meeting after a public hearing. And we can't cut down on the time, unfortunately, because of the way things
sure is.
come together. But you might serve yourself well by going into that work session or seeing if they would convene a work session.
Well, that's a great suggestion. I'm gonna take you up on that. Thank you very much.
okay,
All right. guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Okay, getting back to the agenda, there's nothing for the work session this evening, so we're gonna make a motion to go into the regular meeting, so moved. All in favor?
Aye.
I waive the reading of the correspondence, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the voucher list, $1,158,966.18, so moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Waive the reading of the budget transfers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Setting of the meeting dates and public hearings. All meetings will be held at 1360 Route 22, Brewster, New York, at 7 p.m. unless otherwise noted. Thursday, January 6, 2022, and Thursday, January 20th, 2022. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 5, resolutions for a special permit. Classic M&J Properties, 4 Sodom Lane, tax map 68.5-2-13. I'd like to start with making a motion to rescind the May 7, 2021 special permit resolution that was tabled in waiting for some,
But I just
Problems.
moved to take the resolution off the table.
just that's it?
Yep.
Well, made it easier for me.
Second.
It's off the table.
Remove it from the table.
It's removed from the table. Not this table now, it is table, okay. So move on my behalf.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, we are now going to go to the actual special permit itself. Okay, which is number 5. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast hereby makes the following findings of fact in connection with the instant application. 1, the proposed use is in such location as it is size and character that will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the surrounding district. It will not be detrimental to the immediate site or adjacent properties. 2, the location and size of the proposed use, the nature and intensity of operations involved in or conducted in connection therewith, its site layout, and its relation to access streets will be such that both pedestrian and vehicular traffic to and from the use and the assembly of persons in connection therewith will not be hazardous. 3, the exterior appearance of the building will not hinder or discourage the development and use of adjacent land and buildings. And 4, the proposed use will not require such additional public facilities or services or create fiscal burdens upon the town greater than those which characterize use permits as right. And be further resolved that based upon the foregoing findings, the town board of the town of Southeast hereby grants a special use permit to allow portions of the basement and first floor of the subject premises located at 4 Sodom Lane South tax map number 68.5-2-13, to be used as a general business use, to wit, a woodworking shop and accessory office use, and for no other purpose on the following conditions. 1, the applicant and its tenant shall operate the facility in compliance with all conditions set forth in Article 5 of the zoning code. 2, the general business use shall occupy portions of the basement and first floor of the subject premises only. 3, any expansion of the proposed use with the subject premises shall require review of and approval by this town board and town planning board. And be further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to forward a certified copy of the resolution to Classic M&J Properties to the current owner of the record of the subject premises, to the secretary of the Town of Southeast Planning Board, and to the building department forthwith. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Set? We're closed tomorrow. We're closed on the day after Christmas. Christmas is on a Sunday, so we'll be closed on Monday. And, no, wait, Christmas on Saturday? Saturday.
We're closed tomorrow. 'cause
Yeah,
Christmas is
it's
Saturday.
really screwed up this year. All I know is we're off tomorrow for Christmas Day, and Christmas, the day after Christmas, the town is off as well. So on Tuesday, this will be ready for you to be picked up. Okay?
Thank you.
Congratulations. Sorry for the delay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, you too now. Okay, number 6, a resolution, traffic signal study, intersection of New York State Route 312 and North Brewster Road. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast hereby authorizes the supervisor to make a formal request to the Commissioner of New York State Department of Transportation to cause the DOT to conduct the appropriate engineering and highway traffic studies to determine whether it is appropriate to install signalization at the intersection of North Brewster Road and New York State Route 312. And if such study supports the necessary findings, to erect any and all signalization and/or devices at such intersection as may be necessary and appropriate to enhance travel along Route 312 and North Brewster Road. And be further resolved that the town clerk be and is hereby authorized and directed to forward a certified copy of the resolution of this to the appropriate regional director of the New York State Department of Transportation, to the town highway superintendent, and the Putnam County Commissioner of Highways and Facilities forthwith. So move for discussion.
Second.
Just briefly, I live just up the road from there, and this intersection was supposed to have a signalization if, what was that project? Crossroads was to go in. There was a few lights there you had proposed upon on 22. This is one. There's one right up the road from the school, which is for the school, and I can tell you I've gone down there many times. The fire department's on the left, and there's an open field on the right. And the traffic on Route 312 at that intersection is busy. Now, sometimes people are coming from the school, and you want to make a left there. They're making a left. There's no traffic coming this way, but what's happening is the cars that are coming down go over to the shoulder and pass. So there's been quite a few near misses there. I'm surprised there's not more problems there. So it is something that's required and suggested. We have a few signalization areas that we would like to see here in town. And this is one of them. Let's hope we do better on this one than we did in the other ones.
One other comment.
Yes.
Having been in the fire service for quite a few years and have been in fire departments that were located near or adjacent to a electronic, traffic control device, a traffic light, my suggestion would be usually when, in my previous fire department, Fort Montgomery, we had that setup where if the trucks had to come in or out of the building, it went to an all-way red
Stop.
light while the trucks were coming in and out of the building.
Okay.
So that should be, whatever devices we're putting there, that should be something that the fire department could control for the safety of all, because with that T intersection and the firehouse right on the corner there, that's gonna potentially be an issue, so.
And I have to admit, we've sent letters to the DOT. You heard today was about the accident out there with the blinking light out at Route 21 and Route 6, which is, we've asked now for at least 2.5 years. It's not good. You sit on the traffic, you go to the
Yeah,
traffic safety
yes,
board.
I'm on the traffic safety.
I mean, this is, I mean, they have to start responding. I mean, it took a year to respond to one of my letters, 1 solid year. It's 2.5 years doing nothing. There was quite a serious accident today out there as well. I don't know how they don't get it. You know, coming home from Connecticut, up 684, is it 684 coming north? Yeah, 684?
Yes.
North.
Yes.
684. At Hardscrabble Road, all the people, not all, many people from Connecticut get off there and start weaving their way around, come through Cobb Road and go whatever. I mean, and then they want us to do a traffic study, It's their road, they're causing that traffic to exit onto our roadways, which, I mean, it's everybody's roadway, but what don't they understand? If they don't make the access going to Danbury, they got one exit, it's a nightmare in this town for traffic. And, you know, we asked for signalization, and I think we're being ignored, and I wish we could do something.
I did actually come across a recent traffic study for the 684 corridor from the 84 interchange down to, I believe it was exit 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And they looked at what they thought it's going to be in the next 20 years. So I'll try to find that, but obviously they did a study, so I don't know what they're saying, you know?
Well, they did that study, but they want that particular corridor. I mean, look, thank God I know the local roads, because one night on a Friday night, I swear to God, it was backed up all the way to the state line on Route 6, all the way to Route 6. I didn't even want to make a left to come up Route 22, so I ended up going around, going up down Allview Avenue, just to try to get home. It's crazy. I don't know where they think this traffic goes. It's coming through our town.
Yes.
And that is a dangerous
And
intersection.
it goes past this building and continues up Milltown Road, continues up Doansburg, and it's all people from Danbury and Fairfield.
And I've asked them, and I think every letter I've written, I've asked when they come out to review it, please call me. I know they don't want to hear me, but let me explain to them. And I've lived here for many, many years. Maybe I see something different than their I see, but I'm telling you right now, the traffic is unbelievable on that corridor.
Well, hopefully-
And now, these people were just here now, they've got things going on out there, there's future growth for out there, and, you know, we're sitting here with our hands up our butts.
I will, when we meet next at the Traffic Safety Board, we'll have a new sheriff as the chair of the Traffic Safety Board, so hopefully we'll start to see a little more enforcement than we have in the previous administration,
Okay,
so.
thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 7, resolution speed limit Bruce Heights community. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast hereby adopts a lower speed limit of 25 miles per hour to be posted and enforced on local roads with the Brewster Heights community consisting of North Road, Marlin Road, Carolyn Road, Tanager Road, Clematis Road, Wilson Road, Allen Road, Bloomer Road, Lincoln Road, and because I lived up there, we are missing one, and we're gonna now add Nancy Road. And be further resolved that the town clerk be and is hereby authorized and directed to forward a certified copy of this resolution to the town highway superintendent forthwith, and be further resolved that the highway superintendent is authorized to order and install the appropriate signage and traffic control devices as are approved by the New York State DOT to effect this resolution. So move for discussion.
Second.
Okay, as you know, a gentleman came forward maybe about a month ago requesting this. We did try to do 20, but the best we could do is 25. So we tried the best we can to respond to citizens' requests.
And now that we have lowered it, hopefully we'll see some enforcement from the sheriff's department.
Yes. It's difficult there because when you first come up Lincoln Road, there's like no place for them to hide. And it's difficult, but everyone will do the best we can, we hope. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 8, resolution purchase highway equipment. Now therefore be resolved that the town of Southeast Highway Superintendent is authorized to expend an amount not to exceed $75,818 for the purchase of a vibratory screener as quoted by Westchester Tractor, and be further resolved that the Southeast Superintendent of Highways requires any additional funds above the amount allocated. He will need further authorization by the town board to make such expenditure, and be further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. So move for discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9, Resolution, Ratchie's Restaurant, 3670 Danbury Road, establishment of bond erosion and sediment control. Now therefore be resolved that the bond amount shall be established for the project set forth below. Unfortunately, when we use cut and paste, Dunmore International is there, just change that to Ratchie's Restaurant. I'll take full responsibility. Bond amount, site improvements, $20,400. Erosion and sediment controls, $5,300. And be further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution shall be transmitted by the town clerk to the planning board secretary and building inspector forthwith. So move for discussion.
Second.
Well, I didn't go back to you because it's a simple change we did on our end.
Good.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
That's why I sent them to you in Word.
I know. And once in a while, I can help you. He's always helping me. Okay. Number 10, resolution, Civil Service Law, Section 75, authorized settlement of proceedings. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast does hereby accept the recommendation of the hearing officer and ratifies a stipulation of agreement and release the settlement dated December 21, 2021, executed by the supervisor on behalf of the town and by the employee, and be further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to accept the irrevocable resignation of the employee from employment with the town and is hereby authorized to execute and deliver any and all further documents, memoranda, or other materials necessary to implement the provisions of the aforementioned settlement. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 11, it's a motion to set a public hearing for Planet Fitness for Thursday, January 6th. If Will is able to get that in, fine. If not, we'll find out tomorrow. If it doesn't go through, I will have to change that to January 20th, but we will try for January 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the Supervisors Report. We had a good year. Despite everything that went on, COVID, again, some of the court fees were up. We stayed within our budget. If you noticed our contingency report, we're down to like $500, but we had the money there, which they didn't, in the old days, they didn't really have much of a contingency. So we stayed within the budget. All the lines came out pretty good. Revenue lines were a little bit better than expected. COVID came out and people are back, but unfortunately, we're going back now the opposite way again. So who knows? It's going to be a flip of a coin for next year. But this year was good. I thank you all for your help with getting that done. Public comment? Seeing none. Town board?
Well, seeing as how it's the last meeting of the year, and last meeting would have been with one of our councilmen, wish Councilman Lord well in his new endeavors as he steps down as councilman. And just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Next, over the next 2 days, there might be some wintry mix, so be careful out there. I think there's ice accretion possible on Friday into Saturday. And the other good news was Sodom Road Bridge is open again and should not be detoured anymore. It's completely done. Okay, the NICEAG installed the replacement permanent gas line, and you'll see the detour signs come down over the next few days. So, but it is open for all traffic, pedestrian and otherwise. So.
I will admit, as compared to the Prospect Hill Bridge, which took 10 plus years, these guys did an excellent job, timely job. The only thing they didn't do well on is to open the bridge for a couple weeks and then go back and close it. They should have left it closed till everything was done, but we can live with it.
That was a public utility problem. They couldn't get the utility to step up. I think they had supply chain issues.
But when they found out they couldn't step up, I would have just left it closed. Don't confuse people. But you know what? It's backing up and operational, and we should have no more problems. Okay, I'd like to echo what you said. John Lord was here on the board for the past 4 years, and appreciate his time and efforts. Eric wasn't able to be with us this evening. He's recovering from something. We'll leave it at that. And we wish him and his family the best this holiday season. I spoke to him today. Very strong in his voice and coming along very well. So I'm quite sure. Hopefully he'll be here for the January 6th, whatever, and we'll move on. So to everyone out there on my part, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And if you're of another party or religion or whatever, Same to you. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year as well.
Okay,
All of you.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we close tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.